Hello, fellow soapers. This is Soapy Benjamin. I am going to show you how to use Google Sheets to construct a soap recipe. I use it all the time. Let me zoom in a little bit so we have a little bigger view. I use this all the time for pretty much anything, whether it's lotion or balm or soap or lotion. Some of the way you set these up are a little different. Soap is one of those, simply because of the saponification aspect of soap. We want the oils to always equal 100%, as you well know, just like in soap calc. Everything beyond that is an additive. So the total weight of your batch is going to be over 100% unless you're not using any additives. I tend to use quite a few additives. So just be aware of that soap's a little different than like a salve or a balm recipe where the total batch weight is going to be the total batch weight. So I find this quite easy. You don't need to be a math whiz or a spreadsheet expert. It's pretty simple. You will need access to Google Sheets, and that's free if you have a Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account and you want to create one, it's free. You'll have access to Google Sheets. You might have access without a Gmail account, but I think you do need the account. If you don't want to do that and you happen to have Microsoft Excel installed on your computer, it's virtually identical. Everything we're doing here will carry over to Microsoft Excel. So it's up to you. I use Google Sheets, a little bit simpler interface. You can share them. Microsoft Excel is not, it's not by default like a shareable type recipe. So this is what I do. Let's get started. So we're gonna make soap. The first thing I'll do is what kind of soap am I making? Let's just say I want to make a tallow soap. So I'm going to double click this and I'll just say tallow soap recipe. If you're going to have multiple sheets down here, you could name your sheets. So I'm going to, let's just see, like my own, this whole thing is just all the way to the right with every formula I've ever tried. And if I do an experiment, I don't like it, I'll just scroll down and I'll do my tweaks on the same page, and I'll keep my notes. I could say this is a little bit too hard, and it just makes it really nice. Anyway, I prefer these. You may prefer like Soap Calc or Soap Making Friend. I prefer to kind of own my own formulas. Here's how I start. Just pick a cell. I'm going to say batch. This will be for batch weight. And then this cell right here will be the value. So let's say I want to do 1,000 grams. And what I'll do here is I'll sort of decorate this uniquely so I know that this is sort of an input cell that I'm supposed to stick my cursor in here and change, however much soap I want to make on a particular day. This is supposed to be the adjustable cell. Here, I'm going to do the measurement type. I always do everything in grams. You may prefer ounces. One thing that's easy to do is I could insert a drop down. And then over here on the right, you can specify what are your choices. I could say first choice is GM. Second choice is OZ. And I'll hit return. Oops. I'll hit done. And now I have a drop down menu here with two choices. And this will come into play later. So let's just say grams for now. Now, the way these columns are set up, this is my sort of top row. This is going to be my percentages. This will be the unit of, this is the type of measurement. This is the gram weight. That means that my ingredients are probably going to go over here. So let's just kind of get started. Let's say I want tallow in here. I'm going to want coconut oil. Let's say I want some castor oil. I'm just making this up as I go, but we'll try to make it like a legitimate. Let's say I want shea butter. I don't know, let's say olive oil. Let's just say that's your recipe. I'm going to go over here to column C, and I'm going to click on the column header, because these are all going to be percentages, and I'm going to click on the percentage icon right here. Now I know if I punch in a number here, it's going to be percentage. Batch isn't a percentage because it already knows it's just text. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to skip a little bit here, and I'm going to do like water, and then I'll do sodium hydroxide. And I'm just going to put my additives in here. I'll skip another couple lines. I like to break these up kind of in phases. So let's say I want some sodium lactate. Let's say I want sodium citrate. Let's say I want, let me think, how about some sorbitol? And let's just say kaolin clay. Whatever you want. I'm going to skip down a little bit further. And this is where I would just do, I hardly ever use a single, I don't use fragrances, nothing against them. I typically do essential oils, and I'm even working on sort of natural fragrance oils, so I can get into like absolutes and natural isolates and kind of do my own. But let's just say we're only using essential oils. If you're only doing one fragrance oil, you won't need the second part of this, because we're going to also calculate the blend. So if I change my batch weight, the grams for the blend change, which is very helpful. So essential oil, I'll just say blend. Again, if you're using a single essential oil or a single fragrance oil, you won't need the second part of this. And let's say the last thing is rosemary olea resin. That seems like, a pretty good fake recipe. Now let's go over here to soap calc or whatever your calculator of choice. We're only really interested here in the water and the lye percentage. I could type in 1,000 grams, but as you'll see later, it's going to give me like 138 grams of lye. And if I keep it at 100, then whatever the percentage of lye I need, it's already going to be like percentage ready. I can just copy and paste it. So I'm only using these to sort of simulate the percentage of lye. I'm going to do a water lye ratio of, let's say, 2:1. Super Pat 5, that seems okay. Let's say fragrance per, let's say we're going to do 40. And that's kind of good to go. Now for the good part. Why are we here? We want the saponification calculator aspect of this. So I'm just going to add my castor oil if I can find it. I'll do my coconut. I will do, I think olive oil would be next. We'll do shea butter. And we'll do beef tallow. Let's say my castor oil, I wanted 5%. Let's say coconut's at 20. I don't know, let's see, olive oil is 25. Let's do like shea butter at 10. Let's do the math here, 50 degrees. So this shea tallow would be 40. Let's calculate, make sure that's 100%. It is, that's great. Let's look at the recipe. Remember, the only thing I really want out of here, it is important because, your water to lye ratio, your super fat, all of that's important. And it's probably a good idea to record that in here somewhere so you don't lose it. But what I really need for now is this 13.94 and the water of 27.88. So 13.94 is my percentage for water, or my sodium hydroxide, 13.94. And as you can see, it's already a percentage because earlier we made everything in this column a percentage. We'll go back and get the water, 27.88. 27.88. Okay. And let's go ahead and put the percentages for these. So 40% tallow. Let's see, coconut was 20. Castor oil was 5. Shea butter was 10. Olive oil, I think, was 25. Now, what I'll do, let me make a little more room. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna click on a row, and I'm gonna say insert one row above, And right here will be my total for my oils. And this is the fun part. We're getting into some formulas here. So we want this to be the sum of all these. So if I go up to this little icon here, my functions icon, and I click on it, there's sum. Now, sum doesn't mean just adding things together. Sum is really like your math formula goes in there. It can be subtraction, multiplication, division, a lot of things. I only hardly ever use sum for all my stuff. So how do we get all of these added up? You click on the first cell and you drag down and you let go. And then you hit return. And it's adding these rows without having to say, cell C6 plus cell C7 plus, this is just how it does it. So this is Google Sheets sort of terminology for formulas. So C6 through C10, I get the 100% total. I know we're good. I'm just going to make some space here as well. So we can do totals for all of these phases. And this kind of doesn't matter unless you really need to know the batch weight, your total batch weight. So again, it's going to ask me for the sum. I'm just going to click and drag. It's 42%. Down here, we don't have these in here yet, so let's add them. Let's say sodium lactate, we want at 2%. Sodium citrate, let's just say, 3. Sorbitol at 2. Kaolin clay at, 1. Again, I'm making this up. Might be a horrible recipe, but the sum would be this. And then essential oil blend, I want it to be at 4% of the oil weight. And rosemary oleoresin 0.5%. And again, we'll just make a total here. Sum these two together. And then what I'll do in here is I'll go back to these totals. And if I hold my controlled key down on a Mac, my command key down on a Mac, or your control key on a PC, you can select multiple cells. And I want to bold these, and let's say I want to just color them different because I know they're totals. Let's just say that. That's what I do. And at the very bottom, what you could do is you could get your total batch percentage, I guess. So I could say sum. Now here I'm going to do some clicking. So I'm going to say 100 plus, cell C16 plus, I didn't mean to do that. This guy plus that way. I'm going to hit return. And control plus on a Mac is also zoom in. So I have to now zoom back out. That was weird. And it didn't like what I did. I don't want to do that again. So anyway, let's skip that. That's not even really needed. We kind of have our thing here. If I'm working in grams or ounces, this is a little bit different. If I click into here and I go up to this formula, I don't need sum. I don't need to click sum. I can just do equals. Now here's kind of the magic, and this is I'm going to look to this, whatever this is set, I want everything here to be the same. So this is cell E4. I'm going to do what's called an absolute reference. I'm going to do $E $4. And I'm going to hit return. So see, that's gram. If I change this to ounce, that's ounce. Let's go back to gram. And now what I can do is I can copy this cell and just paste it everywhere I want gram to show up. So I just kind of get it all this. Okay. And now for sort of the grand finale, let's do batch weight. This is why we're here. In this cell, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the absolute reference of this, and no matter where I am on the spreadsheet, it's going to look to this and the thing to the left of it. And this will not be an app, this will be relative. So if I click in here and I go to my sum, this is a formula, and whatever shows in here will be this multiplied by, which is the asterisk symbol, and this one. If I hit return, Look at that. 40% of 1,000 grams is 400 grams. But I did not make D4 that special $ absolute reference. So if I just copied this and I went down here, you're probably going to get nothing. Yep. Because look what it did. It jumped down to D5 because you went down. It's going to always assume as you go down to look to the left and then look 2 above it. What we really want to do is go back to the original, the 400 gram total, and add a $ in front of D and in front of 4 and hit return. And look at this. It's already saying, do you want me to autofill? Why, yes, I do. There you go. I can just copy any one of these. And wherever I go, I can even do it here. No, this is going to be a different, this is going to be a total. So just go to all your additives, all of this. And if you look here, this is all correct. And if I go up here and change this to 1500, watch what happens. Everything changes. It's very, very handy. And you can do it in grams, you can do it in ounces. And that's, so just to sort of like, if I need the actual gram rate of my total batch, I could go in this. I can say sum, and I can drag all the way down. And this should be 1,000. There it is. I can do the same here for the water and the lye, knowing that some of that water will be evaporated, but close enough. I could go down here, and I know my additives are 8% over the soap oil weight. What is that in grams? Well, that happens to be 80 grams, so on and so forth. Now, one thing I'll do is just to sort of differentiate these total columns. If I click and drag and I hold the command key on a Mac or the control key on a PC, you're sort of multi-selecting different things you want to style, and I'll just give them all like that different background, and I'll just make them all bold. If I want, later I can come back here and say, this is phase A, this is phase, however you want to do it. Right now we're just trying to get the sort of the batch calculator working. We got everything ready. It all works. I can change this. Everything changes. Let's do one other step, and we're going to do the essential oil blend. So we're going to kind of have a special area here where, let's say my blend is sweet orange. Let's say we have bitter orange, and let's say cedar wood. It's a good blend, by the way. And this will, the total essential oil percentage will still be 4%, but we want to break these down in grams. So over here, I don't know, let's just color this different, because this is kind of different than the others. Sweet orange, let's say we want 30% of the total blend. Bitter orange is 30%. And let's say cedar wood is 40. And as you can tell, we just want to make sure that that also adds up to 100%. It does. So this is our blend. Now we want the exact, let me put grams in here as well. Of course, it's going to remove my color. So we'll go back and change that back to green. So now here's how this differs. We're going to be keying off the 40 grams. So let's decorate this cell also as kind of a special cell that we're keying off of. I'm just going to put an outline around it, and let's color it green so we know it ties into this. So to calculate, I'm going to click into this cell, and just like before, I'm going to click on my function icon. I'm going to choose sum, and I'm going to say 30% multiplied by, which is the asterisk key, 40 grams. I'm going to hit return. This one is not correct. It is correct, but it's not using that absolute reference. D26 is the one we want to key on. So we're going to come up to D. We're going to add a $sign. We're going to add a $sign in front of the 26, and we're going to hit return. Now, I can just copy this and paste this all the way down. And if I total that out, these should add up to 40. Let's just check it. I mean, we already know it does, but let's just do it. And there you go. So now I know I'm always going to be at 4% of my batch weight. These are going to be my ratios of essential oil or fragrance oil blending. And now I can just think about batch weight. I want to make a lot of soap. 3,000 grams or 3 kilos. Everything changes, including the gram weight of your essential oil or fragrance oil blend. And that's basically it. It's pretty simple. I mean, I think it is. Feel free to watch this again if you'd like to see another more detailed video. I'm going to do another one for lotion. I may not do it today, but I hope this helps. I love it. Once you do this, you can do how many packages, how much labor. It takes me 5 minutes you could really beef up this into almost like a business calculator. And then you can say, you can do things like if I buy in bulk, it's going to be cheaper. And then I'd have to do 10,000 grams at a time because it's going to save me an hour of total labor from doing 10 1,000 gram batches, whatever you want to do. But I primarily just use these as recipe sheets. I'll make this, I'll keep notes. One last thing, I'll probably come over here and I think this is important. Lye to water to lye ratio. You may forget what you did. So this is just a way to sort of remember. You're going to say super fat. We did 5%. Let me spell that correctly. Super fat. That was at. Make that a percentage. That's 5%. What else did we do? Well, we already know it's 4% of the fragrance oil was 4% of oil weight. I think that's all. I mean, you could get into other things. I could do one on how to do how bubbly or creamy or durable or hard. That's all stuff we could add. But this is what I do. I just want this so when I come in, I can just punch in my batch weight and I know everything is correct. And I might have 4 or 5 tabs out here for different recipes, for soap recipes or lotion, whatever you're making. Just remember that soap is different because we want the saponified materials to equal 100. Everything else is on top of that, and the others are different. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Be happy to do more of these. Appreciate it, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you.